Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. So it's June the 27th and the temperature is 80 degrees outside and it's 1:30 in the afternoon. So that is practically a miracle. Wonderful, something to crow about. So I'm crowing too and enjoying the day. But I'm also trying to get a lot of work done because I know if I don't get it done now, it's going to be so much harder and almost impossible for me to do in that kind of heat. So this is truly a day the Lord made just for me. I'm sure for a lot of other people too. We're all enjoying this. And I wanted to show you something. It's a little bit amazing to me, but look, that little cardinal pair are rebuilding a nest and going to start again. I don't know if I've got it there for you and in focus where you can see it, but they're beginning to build another nest right where it was before. Oh, I hope that snake and every other predator stays away from them. My little yellow and pink purslane moss has bloomed. So last night when I was watering, this just wafted through and it smelled so wonderful. I had to go get my husband and have him stand here and see if he noticed anything. And he did, of course. He said, "Oh, wow, it's too bad you can't get a picture of that scent to give them on your YouTube channel." And I agree with him because it smells so heavenly. Not all the lilies have a beautiful fragrance, but this one certainly does. And I have a new one coming up here too, which also smells good. Actually, all of the tree lilies may smell nice. I know these two do, and they're more noticeable even at night when they put that scent off strong when I'm out here watering. But I did go ahead yesterday after church, come out here, and it was hot. It's hot now, to tell you the truth. When you start working out here, you start feeling the heat. But it's a whole lot nicer than when it just about makes you pass out to be out here. And then you try doing something a little bit physical, and it's just more than I can do. But I did go ahead and get a lot of the places where they were just spewing out so much water that I just had little rivers running out here, and of course that's not doing anything any good. But I got a lot of those fixed again. And I have learned another thing, that if I want to use a hose for a soaker hose, when I first did this, I thought, which was last year, and I thought, well, I'll get the cheaper hoses, the light duty hoses, because I'm just going to put a hole in them anyway. But that's not the thing to do. If you ever want to do it, just go ahead and get, this one is a heavy duty, or it may be a medium duty, but I think it's a heavy duty, and it doesn't just spray it everywhere. But if you put a hole in these smaller hoses, the hole just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and soon you just have geysers or rivers flowing out of them. It's not any good. So whenever I do it again next spring, hopefully I will change out all the hoses that are doing that and get the more expensive hoses, because they're going to cost less in the long run. And I wish I would have done that to begin with, but you know, live and learn. So it looks like we have a little clematis or clematis bloom that came out to enjoy the cooler weather too. And look at this beautiful lantana. And I need to trim off my weeping willow, some of the limbs. I don't like for it to get down too low. I like it to be a canopy, and put a shade for my shade plants, but I don't like it to just cover everything up. Look at this pretty little rose blooming today. I certainly love to be out here. I wish I could just relax, but no, there's lots to do and I must get it done. But I did want to show you just a little bit of what a beautiful day and how it brings out the beauty in the plants. They love it too. It's practically like you can tell they're rejoicing as much as us gardeners are for the cooler weather to enjoy. I trimmed out several of my mums, but there are definitely still several I would like to do. And since today is the 27th, I only have 3 more days besides today to get this done, if I'm going to get it done before the end of June, which is what I've read is suggested for a person to do, because after that they take a risk of clipping off their fall blooms. I definitely want to get this one trimmed down a bit. Look at this beautiful daylily. This is one of my favorites, I've told you, but I do just love this pretty kind of a mauve color with the yellow throat, and then it's got this, I just love the edging because it's like outlining it and just drawing your attention all the more to this beautiful color. I actually would still like to plant a few more zinnia seeds. Some of them just didn't come up and I'm not sure why, but I would like to try again in those places that didn't. And my Jacob Klein Monarda is beginning to open up. I did get my little angel's wing glued back on just last night too. I'm trying to get a few things done so that when the heat comes back strong again, hopefully all I will be needing to do then is just to water. It's not quite so hard to water, and even that can be miserable, but it's not as hard as being out here doing something even more physical without any kind of thing to wet you down a bit as you go. Look at this beautiful orange coneflower or echinacea. Isn't that beautiful? And I did remember to get my friend some sweet William seed, because they're dropping them right now and they'll soon be all dropped and gone. So I do have her some ready to give to her when I get the chance. And I'm going to try to fix this on my little gazebo trellis back together again. I've got that ladder there so I can try to get that done here in just a minute. I actually started to do it before I did anything with the camera, and then I just realized, so I better do that first before I get started, because I'll have dirt and Gorilla Glue and foam filler fixer all over me. Look at this bright and beautiful little Victorian blue salvia peeking out above this angel's head. Isn't that sweet? I love this little plant. And it will get bigger, get a taller spike and more pretty color to it. Hopefully, they usually do. Lots of pretty daylilies. Even in the heat they were blooming. But I think even they like it better like in the 80s than in the 90s and 100s. This lovely little Ruffled daylily, another of my favorites. And today was my first pink Carolina ruffled hibiscus bloom. I love this tall verbena, this pretty purple tall verbena, and I wish I could get it growing by some of my bright orange daylilies. I just think that would make a really pretty combination of color. And it shouldn't be all that hard, except that these just kind of come up randomly and you never know where. And also they can get to be a problem. You'll want to go ahead and get some of these off of here before. I always want to leave a few, but they can just come up everywhere, and you'll have way more than you want if you don't go ahead and take off some of them before they go to seed and go everywhere in your garden. But aren't they pretty? I definitely did not want to miss coming out on a beautiful day like this and just doing the fun part, which is looking at the beautiful plants and just relaxing a bit and being out here. Of course, I'm not that relaxed. I know I've got to get busy, and I do have to do it. So, and I want to, because I want it done. But look at the beauty. I don't want to miss that either. That's what it's all about. Look, there's still a few of these Niobe, if I'm pronouncing that anywhere near right, of the clematis or clematis blooming. Now, also a lot of it's doing this thing, which that's what my clematis do. I imagine that's what everybody's clematis does in Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma heat. Pretty little diamond frost, euphorbia. Look at these lovely little white cosmos. They were here before, but for some reason when they're just looking kind of wilty, you don't see the beauty of them until they stand up and shout. And the pretty tall phlox is blooming. Echinacea. Last year I worked pretty hard trying to get this back in the garden, and I love just this beautiful little, especially sometimes it can just be so bright, it just shines, as well as the pretty little petals that come along with it. And then this is the fanfare gaillardia, or blanket flower. Another daylily and some zinnias. I've got to start clipping my zinnias off more. I enjoy them in the garden so much that I don't usually cut them for bouquets unless I'm taking them to someone. But I've got to start doing that because it just makes them to put on more. And it keeps them from getting all ratty looking so early. And of course they will go ahead and do that when after going through so much heat and not being trimmed off, they will just go ahead and die out or look so ugly that you'll want to take them out. But I'm hoping to try to get that to prevent them from doing it at least quite so soon, so they can be beautiful longer. I would love to have these still looking good in the garden when I have my last little get together where people can enjoy it one last time before it goes away. It looks like my little delphinium is just trying to give it up. It looks so terrible. But I wanted to come back over here and show you this particular little zinnia. It's one of my favorites too because of the soft yellow, of course, but I just love it that it has that little pink halo around the top halo, the one that the butterflies love. and the hummingbirds. And I'll soon have some blooms on my Copper King hibiscus. They're white with a bright yellow, pink or pinkish red center. And I was saying the last post, I believe, or a recent one anyway, that I didn't have any coming up in these little pots, any of my little zinnia seeds. I still don't in this one, but in both of the others there are some tiny little ones coming up, which is great. And I'll try to put some more in this pot. And I do have some in these two little blue pots that are coming up, and I'm pretty sure I put yellow ones in here because I love the combination of blue and yellow, or even blue and orange, or purple and orange, maybe even better. And look at our pretty purple heart now. When I brought it out, if you can remember what it looked like, and I'm sure you wondered if it was going to come back out at all, which I have in the past, but I knew it always had before, so it would have surprised me if it had not came back. But it's looking great. And as much as I love green, I love color. I just love to see a little mix of color in with all that pretty green. And I just now noticed the hostas are blooming. I also think I saw one of those green, looks like a ladybug, only a green ladybug, and they're not ladies. They kill the plant, they kill the bloom. And I don't want that. I want to see all that beautiful color and the pretty blooms. So I'll need to spray for those again. This little pot, this Calabatroa, looked like it was going to give up and die, and it may still, of course, but right now it's changed its mind and it's wanting to shine. I wish it would get the chance to. Okay, we are going to get the very last one. Then they'll all be gone till next year of this color. There's still daylilies in the garden. Today is June the 28th and summer is officially here. And June is almost over. My little fan flower and some of my Calabatroas are still going. Maybe not strong, but they're still going. So we'll see how much longer they will last. Usually sometime in June sometime shortly after June, they give it up for the heat. But I'm hoping they'll keep going. Of course, I always do. I did get most of my mums trimmed down. I didn't trim them all down. And I don't know if I trimmed them enough actually, because by the end of the season they're liable to be right back up to to where they'll flop over, but hopefully not. Hopefully it'll make some difference. So this is one that I did not trim down. It's not really tall right now, so I don't know if it'll stay an okay height, or if I would wish that I had trimmed it or a little later on in the season. I also did get some of my roses trimmed, not very many, just the ones that actually were putting out canes that were just way up higher than what's around them and just looking so unruly. I did go ahead and get those, and I can't come outside without doing something out here because there's always something to be done. This has looked pretty. It has kept its bloom, and I've tried to keep it picked off pretty well so that it can keep blooming. I planted a few more zinnia seeds. This is a pretty daylily right here, but I think I'm done with planting seeds too. I'm about ready to just water and let the rest of it just do the best it can until it's cooler, and that won't happen until the end of summer, close to fall most likely. The crepe myrtles are looking really pretty this morning, and I did get my table cleaned off and my footstool cleaned off, and some papers put away where I can't find them when I need them. Hopefully I won't need them, but honestly they will be there if I do need them. It might take me a while, but I'll be able to find them if I need to. So those are put away, and have things kind of taken care of a little bit more. So some of my loose ends are tied up, and there's still plenty more that need to be, of course, as it always goes. There's always daylilies to be clipped off because you know they only last a day, and so the old ones need to be clipped off. They don't always get it here in my garden, but I've planted this pretty little blue balloon flower. I wanted it to grow up with these so you could really get the effect of the contrast of colors, but it's leaning over. I'll have to get that staked at some point, but it's not going to happen today. It's very hot already. Our heat is back. Oh, did I tell you we did get a reprieve? It was a very short-lived reprieve, but nonetheless a reprieve from the heat. However, we did not get rain with it, so I had to keep watering, so it really wasn't too much of a reprieve, but I definitely, it was wonderful just to step outside the door and feel a cool breeze on your face, and that's something we in Oklahoma don't get a lot of in the summertime, so we are grateful. And I also did get another sister's movie started, so I'm getting that little job done, or that humongous job done, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a pleasant thing for her to have her memories, and I'm grateful to get to do that for her. I'm grateful that the Lord allowed me to live and not die from a heart attack so far, and give me the time to do that. I just feel so much better thinking that I might get that done. It's been a promise and a goal, and I would love to see it accomplished. Look at this beautiful yellow torch lily. I had clipped it off, but I guess it decided, oh, it's so nice, I'll come back and shine one more time. If it were not so miserably hot out, or even if I could handle the heat a little better, I would love being out here. I would enjoy to spend all day, several days out here, if that were possible, but I've got to get in out of the heat. I've got to take care of myself so that I can get back out here later in the evening and get everything watered. I'll come in and out and do the ground watering with the soaker hoses. But other than that, I plan on working on the movie today. I hope you're somewhere in where it's cool and that your life is feeling blessed. Look at this pretty display of yellow and blue in the Russian sage, the blue in the background, and then the pretty yellow daylilies. I also did get after the purslane moss here. Of course, there's probably going to still keep some of it trying to come up, but maybe these little zinnias, when they get going, they may just go ahead and crowd out that purslane moss. There's probably wishful thinking, but it could happen. That's one reason I wanted to plant something here, because as I've told you before, maybe even early on in this post, but where a flower is not, a weed will be. And I did get this little tiered pot put back together where I can use it. This side looks great, but that's not the side actually that was all broken. This one was the side that was broken. And actually my little fix job looks terrible, but I've got it to where I can plant in it, and once the plants get in there, it's going to probably hide that if it gets big enough too. I did put the small little profusion zinnias in here, but I think they're going to look great if they come up for me. I've had some of them that came up readily and did great, and then others I've done 3 times, put seed in them, and they haven't done it yet. So we'll see how they will do, but I am so hoping that these will look great. I actually use yellow and pink profusion zinnias in this, and I think that will make a beautiful display when they grow up and fill up with bloom. Of course, this is definitely a little daisy mum, or I don't think it's even a mum at all. That foliage doesn't look anything like a mum that I've seen. But this is the pretty color of the yellow mum that I had last year, and I guess I don't have any of it left. I put it in pots and they did not come back, which was surprising to me. They usually come back in pots, the mums do for me, so we'll see. But I lost those. Maybe I can find another one this fall. Also heard that if your mums bloom early, you can trim them back and they will bloom again in the fall when they're actually supposed to bloom. So that would be great. I may still do that. I have 2 more days of June left to do that. Look at the beautiful contrasts and colors here in the blue and in the yellow. That was my plan when I put that there, but so far they haven't grown big enough to actually grow into each other and really show off their colors. I also did plant some zinnia seed where my little transplants of this beautiful Siberian Iris or Japanese, I'm not sure which of the iris it is, but it's one of the ones that that can handle a bog garden or around the edge of a water garden. So this one is my bog garden. It's got plastic in it so it doesn't drain real well, but it does have holes in it so it will drain. So I'm going to see, and it honestly already looks like I do have a few little seeds coming up. I get excited about these tiny little itty bitty things because they will put on a showing eventually. Look, these are planted earlier and they've already got a little bit of growth to them. Some of them do, and some of them are still pretty small. I just love these double petunias. Of course, I love petunias, period. I love the scent of them. I just think they're wonderful. And I'm trying to keep a few of them clipped off of there, or all if I could, but I never seem to get around to that job that much. But I love them, and this one is showing off a little bit for you this morning. I also took the birdhouse out that used to hold the little birds that the snake ate, and I set it here and just as a little decorative piece, and I put some of the coconut liner around a little pot and set it in there, and put one of the little fake birds in there that I think it's cute. And these little pots seem to be doing pretty well. Some of them don't have much in them, but I think I'm about ready to quit, like I say, quit trying to plant. And if they don't make it, and here's another thing I see is some grass coming up here. I don't want that in there. But if these, I'm going to push that one down a little bit so I can get, so it doesn't lean over so far that it pulls its little root out, and that one could fill up the pot prettily. I don't see any coming up in this pot, but what I will do later on when we have a rainy day, a little bit cooler, is come out here and take some of these where they're a little bit excessively in the pot, more than the pot can really hold. I will take some of them out and put them in some of these places where there isn't anything coming up. This beauty, this Calabrachoa, is looking great right now. We'll see how long they'll last. Oh, I wish I could grow these and grow them all season. You're going to get tired of hearing me say that, but I've got to keep trying until I can get it done. And this little Calabrachoa is still going pretty strong too. I need to get out here and give them some food too. I did put the release granules in all of these pots when I planted these, but I probably need to do that again, or give them some liquid plant food, because that's one thing Calabrachoa I've read they need, or heard on YouTube someplace, that they are heavy feeders. They do like a lot of plant food. Here's another of the double petunias. This is such a pale color. I didn't think I would like it that much when I first got one of these, and I got it in a little mix, so I had another color that I really wanted, and this one to me was the most stunning of all. It just happened to do really well that year and had lots of beautiful bloom, and I just loved it. So I always want to have one like this in my garden if possible. And take a look at this little sedum. Isn't that a beautiful bloom? I didn't know it would do this when I got it. I just wanted some sedums because they last long. Oh, and I'm going to pull this up. This is pretty. It's a Celosia, but it also puts down so many seeds. I'm not going to try to take care of all that many, but I love this little sedum because it doesn't take a lot of water. It doesn't mind the heat, and it draws butterflies and bees and hummingbirds, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I did get some of my little garden decor pieces put back together, and I think I used my time when it was a little bit cooler wisely. So I had this done now, and I don't have to worry about trying to do it in the heat, which I wasn't getting around to anyway. Just the heat, and a job that's any bit physical at all is just about more than I can do. And did I show you that there is a few of the little purple splash peppers coming up? Last year they didn't do enough to even put on peppers for this year, but I had some seed left from the year before and I planted them just in case, a few of them, and this one is looking great. I love these. They trail, they're just that beautiful unexpected color. Lots of times they have white in there too, and they're more the dark, almost black, purple black, than they are the green, and they're just a wonderful plant, I think, in the garden, especially for containers. Oh, excitement. Look, there's a couple of little seeds coming up in here. This is one of the ones I planted 3 times, but maybe it's took that last time. That'll be great to have a little color here. And I don't know that they will come up, but I also planted a few little zinnia seeds in with this because I think this is just so much prettier when it's beautiful by itself. It is, but I think it brings attention to it and just makes it all the more beautiful if it has some pretty color around it too. And this little purslane moss is wonderful, but it usually only stays in bloom in the earlier part of the day when it's cool, or right after rain. It will usually bloom really pretty too. I'm hoping we get some rain before too long, but right now there's none in our forecast. I need to keep a little watering can close at hand for pots like these because oftentimes they can't really last a whole day without wilting down. So far I've been able to get them to come back to life, or back from the wilt to crisp pretty color again, but that's kind of risky to try that because oftentimes when they do go ahead and wilt, they don't come out of it. Look at this beautiful Bougainvillea. The Calabachoa is one of the plants that is, if it does wilt down, it almost never comes back from the wilt. And this one, I had a geyser that was squirting right here, and it's actually killed out some of it, or made it look bare and not so pretty, but it's still trying to go. I hope it will go ahead and live. We'll see. Watch with me. This little Rex begonia is still doing okay. It's maybe nothing to brag about, but if it's alive and looking even halfway healthy, then I'm excited about it. And this little plant pot where it died out, I went ahead and put some zinnia seeds in that, but of course there's nothing coming up yet. And I also put it in this little pot, had sedum in it, but some of it died out, so I'm going to go ahead and try. Of course I'll leave the sedum, and it can go ahead and fill itself back up and in time, and then but hopefully the zinnias will come up in with this and just look great together. And this little Calabachoa is gone. It was a beautiful orange, and it's gone. It's totally gone. So I planted some little zinnia seeds there. I'm not sure that's what this is. It may be. I hope it is. It looks kind of like it is, but also has a different look too, maybe. So we'll see what that is. It's probably something I planted there though, so I'm sure it'll be beautiful. If it's a plant, it'll be beautiful. Unless of course it's an invasive plant or a weed. If you can find a shade, you can stand being in the garden for a little while. And this little coleus, something has gotten after it. I think it's grasshoppers. I've seen several. So far they're small, but you know they grow, and July seems to be a great time for grasshoppers. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.